Sometimes, as we just saw, camera moves have an emotional impact. But other times, they just look cool. I mean, let's face it, static images just aren't as engaging as moving pictures are. This shot is one of my favorites from the Assurance. We accomplished it by sliding the camera from left to right while simultaneously panning the camera from right to left. The camera movement really only serves to look cool. I mean, you could say that the motion shows the vastness of the expanse, or maybe that the movement represents Cordelia processing her place in the world as heard in the voiceover. And both of those things may be true. But mostly the move serves to further engage the viewer in this shot and thereby connect them more to the film as a whole. Here in this shot of Cordelia drinking water from a stream, we found a local park with a bridge. I set up the slider on top of the bridge, pointed down on Cordelia, and slid from left to right. And because there aren't any objects close to the camera, I added an extra little spin and push in post-production. Now, one word of warning about moving the camera purely for the sake of beautifying the shot. Remember to be very careful about using camera moves, like pushing in for example, that have an emotional impact. There's already a very established lexicon of what camera moves suggest to the audience. So when you push the camera in, but you're just kind of trying to add some random movement to make the shot more interesting, then it can be confusing for the audience if there's nothing emotional happening. For the camera moves in the Assurance, I chose to move the camera laterally when there weren't big emotional shifts. That made these shots, where there was something emotional happening, stick out a little more. Note the emotional difference in moving the camera towards or away from the subject, as opposed to just moving from side to side. Now remember that the camera represents the audience, so this kind of makes sense, right? I mean, if you were talking to someone and moved left or right, it doesn't really change the emotional dynamic of the conversation. But if you moved closer or further away, that does suggest something about the intimacy of that moment. Same thing is true in cinematography. Moving the camera can add interest to shots and make your film feel more professional and engaging. However, it's important to remember that nothing on a film is random. So be sure to design and plan all of your camera moves so that the moves feel elegant and purposeful.